When I called from the office with trembling hands and begged my mother in law for help, she said in a cold voice, "I'm not your babysitter, Jessica." Then she hung up, just like that. No explanation, no concern. My phone slipped from my hand. My breath stopped. My 6-year-old daughter, Sophie, was sitting alone outside the school gate in the pouring rain, shivering in the cold, getting soaked, and no one came to pick her up. I was stuck in an important meeting on the other side of town. My boss was sitting right in front of me. I couldn't leave. I had called my mother in law because I had no other option. She was at home. The school was only 10 minutes away from her house, but she refused. And my daughter sat there alone for an hour and a half. When I finally arrived, Sophie's eyes were red. She was crying. Her clothes were completely soaked. Her lips had turned blue from the cold. "Mommy," she looked at me and burst into tears. "I thought you forgot about me." My heart shattered in that moment. I hugged her tight, kissed her hair, apologized to her 1,000 times. But inside, I was burning with anger, with pain, with helplessness. That night, Sophie developed a high fever, 103 degrees. I sat by her side all night, kept placing cold compresses on her forehead, held her hand. She was mumbling in her fever. No one came. I was alone. I was so scared. Every word stabbed through my heart like a knife. The next morning, I called my mother in law. "Sophie is sick," I said, trying to hide the pain in my voice. "Because of yesterday." "So?" Linda said in a cold tone. "That wasn't my responsibility, Jessica. If you choose to work, that's your problem. Why are you dragging me into this?" I was stunned. "But she's your granddaughter," I said quietly. "And you're her mother," she shot back. "If you can't handle her, then why do you work? Stay home, take care of your child. That's what a mother is supposed to do." Then she hung up. I stood there and phone in my hand, tears streaming down my face. "My name is Jessica. I'm 29 years old. I've been married for 6 years. My husband's name is David. He's a good man. He loves me. He adores Sophie, but he has one big weakness. He can never stand up to his mother. Never. And my mother in law, Linda, she's a very controlling woman. She believes a woman's job is to take care of the home, cook, raise children. That's it. When I continued working after marriage, she couldn't accept it. "This isn't right," she told me. "David makes good money. Why do you need to work? Stay home." But I didn't listen. I'm a graphic designer. I love my work. I earn a good salary. I'm financially independent. And what's wrong with that? But Linda never liked it. Our house is in a small suburb, a lovely 3-bedroom home. Sophie's room is painted yellow and white. She's drawn pictures on the walls with her crayons. She's a cheerful child, always singing, always dancing. She has lots of friends at school. I do everything for her. Wake up early to pack her lunch, get her ready, drop her at school, pick her up in the evening, then make dinner, help her with homework. It's not easy, but I manage because she's my life. My father-in-law, Richard, is a retired banker. He's a quiet man, doesn't talk much, just agrees with whatever his wife says. And Linda, she wants to control everything, including our lives. She invites us for dinner every week, and every single thing about me gets criticized. "Why is Sophie so thin? Don't you feed her properly? What kind of clothes did you put on her? Don't you have any sense? Why is your house always so messy? What do you do all day?" Every time, every visit, I stayed quiet, kept smiling, endured it all, because I wanted Sophie to have her grandparents' love. But after that day, something changed inside me. When my daughter got sick from sitting alone in the rain, when she was so scared that she had nightmares all night, and my mother in law didn't call even once to ask if Sophie was okay. I told David everything that evening. He listened. He looked uncomfortable, Then he said, Mom probably had her reasons, Jess. She's old. Maybe she wasn't feeling well. She hung up on me, David, I said. Our daughter was alone in the rain and she didn't care. I'll talk to her, he said, but I knew he wouldn't. He never did. Sophie recovered after 3 days, but something in her had changed too. She became quieter, more clingy. She started having separation anxiety. Every morning when I dropped her at school, she would cry and hold on to me. Please don't leave me, Mommy, she would say. What if no one comes? It broke me every single time. I took her to a child psychologist. The doctor said Sophie had developed trauma from that incident. Trauma. My 6-year-old daughter had trauma because my mother-in-law couldn't be bothered to drive 10 minutes. I was furious, but I still didn't say anything. Because what could I say? Linda had made it clear she wasn't going to help and David wasn't going to confront her. Then something happened that changed everything. It was a Friday evening. Linda called and invited us for Sunday dinner. Like always, I didn't want to go, but David insisted, please, Jess, let's not create more problems. Just come for a couple of hours. So I agreed. That Sunday, we went to their house. Linda opened the door with a big smile, like nothing had happened. Oh, there's my sweet Sophie, she said, bending down. But Sophie hid behind me. She didn't go to her grandmother. Linda's smile faded. What's wrong with her? She's still recovering, I said calmly. From that day, Linda's face hardened. You're being dramatic, Jessica. Children get sick. It happens. I felt my blood boil, but I stayed quiet. Dinner was tense. Linda kept making passive-aggressive comments. Sophie, you've become so shy. You never used to be like this. David, your wife looks tired. Maybe she should consider staying home more. Jessica, this pasta is a bit bland. Don't you use salt? I ate in silence, counted the minutes until we could leave. After dinner, Sophie went to play in the backyard. David and Richard went to watch TV. Linda and I were alone in the kitchen. She turned to me and said, You know, Jessica, you're making a big mistake. What mistake? I asked. Working, neglecting your family. Look what happened to Sophie. She's traumatized because you can't balance your priorities. I stared at her. Sophie is traumatized because no one came to pick her up, because she sat alone in the rain for over an hour. That wasn't my responsibility, Linda said sharply. I'm not your babysitter. I raise my children. I'm done with that phase of my life. She's your granddaughter, I said, my voice shaking. Not some random child. Your granddaughter. And you're her mother. Linda shot back. Act like it. That was it. That was the moment I decided. I was done being quiet, done being the obedient daughter-in-law, done letting this woman treat me and my daughter like we didn't matter. Before I tell you what I did next, let me ask you something. If you were in my place, would you have stayed quiet or would you have fought back? I left that house with a plan forming in my mind. Linda thought she could treat me like this because I always stayed silent, because I always tried to keep the peace. Not anymore. I started small. The next week, Linda called to invite us for dinner again. I politely declined. We're busy, I said. She was surprised. Busy? With what? Just family time, I said. Sophie needs it. Linda didn't like that, but she couldn't argue. The week after that, she called again. I declined again. This time, she called David directly. He came to me looking confused. Mom says you're avoiding her. I'm not avoiding her, I said. I'm just prioritizing Sophie right now. After what happened, she needs stability. David nodded slowly. He couldn't argue with that. Linda tried a few more times, but I stayed firm. Then I took the next step. Linda was very active on social media. She loved posting pictures of Sophie, bragging about her granddaughter to all her friends. But to do that, she needed pictures from me. I stopped sending them. At first, she didn't notice. Then she started asking, "Send me some recent photos of Sophie. I want to show my friends." "I've been busy," I said. "I'll send them when I can." But I never did. Linda got frustrated. Her Facebook profile, which used to be full of Sophie's pictures, went quiet. Her friends started asking, "Where are the photos of your granddaughter? We miss seeing her." Linda called me. "Jessica, I need those pictures." "I'm sorry, Linda," I said sweetly. I'm just so overwhelmed with work and taking care of Sophie. You know how it is. Oh, wait, you said you're done with that phase of your life. So maybe you don't know. There was silence on the other end. Then she hung up. I smiled, but I wasn't done yet. A few weeks later, it was Linda's birthday, a big one. She was turning 65. She was planning a huge party. She invited everyone, family, friends, neighbors, and of course, she wanted Sophie there, her cute little granddaughter, to show off to everyone. David came to me. "Mom really wants us there. It's her birthday." "Of course," I said. "We'll go." David looked relieved, but I had other plans. The day of the party, I got Sophie ready. She looked adorable in a pink dress. We drove to Linda's house. It was full of people, decorations everywhere, music playing. Linda saw us and rushed over. "Oh, there's my beautiful granddaughter," she said loudly for everyone to hear. She reached out to hug Sophie, but Sophie stepped back. She held my hand tightly. "I don't want to," Sophie said quietly. Linda's smile froze. "What?" "I don't want to hug you, Grandma," Sophie said. "You didn't come when I needed you." The room went quiet. People were staring. Linda's face turned red. "Sophie, don't be silly. Come here." But Sophie shook her head. Tears filled her eyes. "You left me alone in the rain. I was scared. And you didn't care." My heart ached for my daughter. But I also felt proud. She was speaking her truth. Linda looked around nervously. Everyone was watching, judging. "Jessica, control your daughter," Linda hissed. "I'm not going to control her," I said calmly. "She's expressing how she feels. You always told me children should be honest, right?" Linda glared at me. One of her friends came over. "Linda, what is she talking about? What happened?" And that's when I told the whole story. Calmly, clearly, how I had called Linda for help, how she had refused, how Sophie had waited in the rain, how she had gotten sick, how she now had anxiety. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't dramatize. I just stated the facts. By the time I finished, everyone was staring at Linda. "You let your granddaughter sit in the rain?" Someone said. "For over an hour?" Another person added. "And she got sick because of it?" Linda tried to defend herself. I had things to do. I'm not responsible for. I'm not a babysitter." But nobody was listening. They were all looking at her differently now. The perfect grandmother image she had built, it crumbled in that moment. We left the party shortly after. Sophie was tired. And honestly, so was I. But I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Free. David was quiet on the drive home. I knew he was processing everything. Finally, he said, "That was harsh." "Was it?" I asked. "Was it harsh to tell the truth? Or was it harsh when your mother left our daughter alone in the rain?" He didn't answer. Over the next few weeks, things changed. Linda tried calling several times. I didn't answer. She sent messages. I didn't reply. She even showed up at our house once. I politely told her we were busy. David was caught in the middle. He tried to play mediator, but I was done compromising. "Your mother made it very clear that she's not responsible for Sophie," I told him, "so I'm respecting that. She doesn't have to be involved in our lives." "But she's family," David said weakly. "Family doesn't abandon children in the rain," I said. "Family doesn't make a mother feel guilty for working. Family doesn't criticize everything you do and then refuse to help when you need it." David couldn't argue with that. Then, one evening, about a month after the birthday party, Linda called David. She was crying. "Please," she said, "I need to talk to Jessica. I need to see Sophie." David looked at me. I shook my head. But then I heard something in her voice, something different. Put her on speaker, I said. David did. Linda, I said calmly. What is it? She was sobbing now. I made a mistake, Jessica. A terrible mistake. I said nothing, just waited. I've been thinking about that day, she continued, about Sophie, about what I did, and I can't sleep. I can't stop thinking about her sitting there alone, scared, in the rain. She paused, took a shaky breath. Richard has barely spoken to me since the party, my friends. They look at me differently now, and I realized I destroyed the relationship with my own granddaughter because I was too proud, too stubborn. I could hear the genuine regret in her voice. Sophie has nightmares, I said quietly. She's scared to go to school now. She thinks people will leave her because that's what happened. Someone she trusted left her when she needed them most. Linda let out a sob. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was wrong. I was so wrong. For the first time since I had known her, Linda sounded broken. I don't expect you to forgive me, she said. I don't deserve it. But please let me try to make this right. Let me talk to Sophie. Let me tell her I'm sorry. I looked at David. He had tears in his eyes. I thought about everything, the pain, the anger, the hurt, but I also thought about Sophie, about what she needed. Linda, I said finally, you hurt my daughter, you hurt me, and I'm not going to pretend that didn't happen. I know, she whispered, but I continued, if you're truly sorry, if you've truly realized what you did wrong, then maybe we can start over, slowly. Really? Linda sounded hopeful. On one condition, I said firmly, you respect me. You respect my choices. You respect that I'm a working mother, and that doesn't make me a bad mother. And you never ever make Sophie feel unwanted or unimportant again. I promise.